Hi everyone, my name is Aggie Moreno Lopez and I'm one of the volunteers involved in the making of this wonderful NHS charity book titled Living During the Coronavirus Pandemic, Poems, Reflections and Artworks. And I'm here to tell you a little bit more about the book and to answer some of the questions that you sent and just give you a bit of an insight into the behind the scenes of making this book and some of the curiosities and some of the pieces in the book. So stay with me. Okay, so the first question, what is the main message this book hopes to spread? I think for me what struck me most about this project was a very powerful, very honest message that came through with every poem, with every reflection that we received. And I think it very much is in every page of this book. It's a message of human resilience, of being able to face extraordinarily challenging circumstances and actually with unity and doing this together, there's a sense of hope, there's a sense of this will be okay. And that, I think that is really what this book radiates. It's hope and resilience. But I think also the generosity of spirit and compassion and the ability for communities to get together to really make sure that all of those most vulnerable members of society, all of those vulnerable members of our communities will be given the support. And that is really humbling for me to see that and to read that in a book. I think for me personally gave me a huge amount of hope and an ability to do something proactive, to feel that I was doing something rather than just feeling really helpless with all of the uncertainty and all of the scary stuff that was going on in the world. So for me, it was giving me a sense of action, a sense of positive, proactive action, something that we could do to make things better, to help. And again, reading those poems was almost like a temporary antidote to all of the scary stuff that I was watching in the news and that we hear and we can do very much about. So I really hope that this book will give people who read it that sense of joy and sense of hope that together we can face extraordinarily difficult things, and we can take actions no matter what small actions there are. Hopefully, all of us can put a little grain of hope and support. So the next question is, who is the book dedicated to? I'll read it to you. So this book is dedicated to all NHS workers, key workers and their families. Thank you for all of your hard work and dedication every single day, but especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. And 100% of the proceeds of the sale of this book will go to NHS charities together. This book is also dedicated to my dear friend, colleague and also fellow volunteer from this project, Fiona Burns, who sadly passed away 2 months ago. So a double question next. So what is the ultimate aim for this book? And what is NHS Charities Together going to do with all the money raised? The aim for this book is twofold. There's two big reasons why we want it. Was a number of them, but two main reasons. So first one was really documenting this important part of social history, but really from a perspective of people who lived it firsthand, so that in generations to come, children can read those poems written by children living through a pandemic and actually try and understand what was going on for them and how they felt and the sort of things that their parents and their grandparents did to support them and to help them through this such difficult time. But I think ultimately we all wanted to be using this as a tribute to the NHS workers and their incredible sacrifices that they continue to do every single day on their shifts. And to try and do that in a practical way, to try and offer support in a practical way rather just a tribute. because of that, we chose NHS Charities Together. And you may have never heard of NHS Charities Together. I mean, I've been working in the NHS for almost 18 years and I've never heard of them before. I started doing a bit of research to find a way for us to contribute and to help and support a charity that would support ultimately the work of the NHS staff. But if you've never heard of them, they are really fantastic, and I would really recommend that there's a whole section at the end of the book about NHS Charities Together and the work that they do. Essentially, they offer support to the NHS staff and also to patients as well. But what they do is they have a range of, with the funding, they have a range of programs and a range of support to staff, from very practical support like creating quiet spaces where staff can actually take a break on their shift. They have nutritious snacks and support in there if people need to talk or need a quiet space. So that is there for staff. But also they have very specific projects that go far beyond the normal NHS budgets. For example, they are offering specialist psychological well-being lines, telephone lines, and therapy to support to frontline staff who obviously through the pandemic have experienced a range of very upsetting, difficult circumstances and experiences. So there's that and a lot more that, as I said, if you want to have a look, please go on their website, nhscharitietogether.co.uk, and find out more. So the next couple of questions are all about curiosities and sort of fun facts about the book and the pieces. So the next question is, how old are the youngest authors and the oldest authors in the book? So the oldest authors are the lovely residents of the Older People's Home, Chestnut Lodge, that alongside the activities coordinator, Elizabeth, sent us a lovely poem, and that's in chapter 7 of the book. So the youngest authors are only 4 and 5 years old, and their pieces are in the first half of the book, which is the children and families section. And one of those young authors is my daughter Anna, and she wrote a really heartwarming poem for the NHS, which is in the NHS tribute chapter in part 1. So next question, are there any authors, NHS workers or key workers in the book? So as I mentioned, apart from the NHS tribute chapter in part 1, in part 2 there's a whole chapter that consists of powerful and moving reflections and personal first accounts of NHS workers about their experiences working frontline during the first lockdown in March, or also key workers and reflecting on the impact that the pandemic has had on their work, but also on their families and their own mental health. So the next question is actually a true or false. True or false, is there any poem in the book that has been made into a song? Yes, that is true. This book really is a little treasure trove. It's a poem by Liz Binks, who's on part 1 of the book, has been actually made into a song. It's on YouTube. And it's a really nice, really catchy song, and there's lots of lovely photos in the video with the song of Liz and her children. So it's really sweet. So the next few questions are about the volunteers' experiences of the book, of creating this book, a bit of a peek behind the scenes. So the next question is, how many people have been involved in the making of the book? So this book is a little bit like one of those intricate mosaics with hundreds of vibrant pieces of different colors, shapes and sizes. And like this book, each of those tells a story. But it's only really when you actually put all the pieces together on that mosaic that the magic happens, and then you can really see the bigger picture and the beautiful work of art that sort of that lies. Um, so, like all social projects, this book has been the product of individual action, but also collective contribution with all of the amazing pieces, poems, reflections that the over 100 authors and collaborators have sent to us. And so the book has been created by the sheer hard work and commitment of 6 volunteers that hopefully you'll get to know through their own videos to tell you about the book. So those are Terry, Fiona, Jules, myself. And then the book has been beautifully illustrated by volunteer illustrator Tanya Leverington, and also supported and guided by Tom Chalmers and his amazing team at Legend Times, again all of them volunteering their time for this to make this beautiful book. So what practical skills have you learned during this project that you did not have before? The list is probably endless. I think it has been an incredibly exciting and satisfying, really steep learning curve. I think I probably have brought lots of transferable skills with me from my day job. But again, there's been many skills and tasks that I have never done before that I've just picked up along the way. And some of these have been completely new to me, but yet they felt really natural to me. For example, liaising with the authors has been an utter joy, and really enjoyed listening to their stories and just linking in with them. I think quite a few good friendships have come out of that. Like in the shortlisting, coordinating and arranging the volunteer meeting so that we were all in sync with deadlines and we were all kind of heading in the right direction. The editing and the creative side of things I absolutely loved. The creative editing, the creative writing, the editing, being part of the creative decisions around the book and the structure, the illustrations, all of those things have been an incredible roller coaster, I think, of emotions sometimes and learning, but it has made me realize that actually it's never ever too late to learn anything and that everything can be done. So what is your favorite chapter in the book? That is such a hard question. Really hard, because there's some very beautiful poems and really powerful reflections in part 2. But I think if I have to think about what part of the book I felt more connected with, that would be part 1, the children and family section, for many reasons, I think. So I think partly because many of those uncertainties and struggles and dilemmas that parents talk about in their poems, I really felt that really resonated with me, and some of the dilemmas and some of the uncertainties that I had with regards to making choices about our children and schools and our families and what we were doing or not doing. And so that felt really normalizing and really validating for me. I also love the fact that it's just really colorful and happy and beautifully illustrated, and it's just really refreshing to read at that time where things were really scary out there, and it felt really nourishing and really lovely to look at. I particularly love chapter 2, which is the note from the children, because it was really refreshing to actually think about the pandemic through the eyes of the children, in a very well written, articulated way. Were able to express how they felt about what was going on and trying to make sense of all of the things that were different, and how their hopes and their fears, and that was really wonderful to see. And I think one of those children is my oldest daughter, Sophia, and she wrote a really beautiful story about friendship and about bravery. and finding bravery and courage within ourselves even when we don't think we have it. And that was a really exciting thing for me, to see her thinking creatively and writing creatively and developing this story. And then having the amazing opportunity to co-produce the illustrations with incredibly talented illustrator Tanya, and how excited they both were about this work that they were doing together. So that was really, really special. And I thought I'd give you a sneak peek of part of the story. You'll have to get the book and have a look at the rest. Okay, so for the last question, I've got a little person here, a very special guest, to ask me the question. So,
who would you like to say thank you to?
Okay, so lots of people actually. So the first group of people that I would love to say thank you to is, of course, all of the incredible NHS staff, my colleagues, and all of the colleagues in the whole NHS, for their bravery, for being able to sacrifice themselves and their families for all of us, really, to look after us and to keep us safe. And I really hope that we can continue our NHS to be that safety net for all of us for forever, really. So thank you so much. So this book is for you, and also for all the other key workers that have kept the world moving and going during the pandemic and lockdown, etc. So thank you to everybody, but also massive thanks to all of the contributors for this book, all of the amazing authors that have sent us their pieces, that have collaborated with us, because otherwise this book wouldn't happen, and it's your book. So thank you so much. Also, massive thank you to my family that has allowed me to pour all these hours in the evenings and late at night to help and to make this book hopefully as beautiful as it is. But this book could not have happened without the other amazing and talented volunteers in our team, and each of them have brought something really special to this book, their experiences and their skills and their time. So thank you to each of one of you. Thank you also to Tom and to his incredible and generous team at Legend Times that have been able to do all of the making of the actual book, to publish it. So thank you so much. And of course, the incredible skills of an amazing artist, Tanya Leverington, who has worked tirelessly to make all of the amazing and beautiful illustrations in the book. Thank you. So thank you to all of you. And I hope that you connect with this book and you really enjoy it, and it brings you the same hope and the same positivity and the same warmth that has brought to each of our lives. Happy reading!